Hi everyone, I'm Lorraine Driscoll and this is another episode of Building Better Brains. So last week I talked about the impact of stress, anxiety, and even trauma on our children's learning ability as well as their behavior. And I don't want to just kind of leave you hanging. I felt like I kind of was talking a lot into the effects because I think that's really important to truly understand why it's so important to make sure that our children's nervous system is calm before we start getting into helping them, or focusing on their academics and so forth. But today I want to focus on what you can do to help reduce your child's anxiety, particularly if there's a lot of back to school stress and anxiety. Whether it's because of COVID, whether it's because they have dyslexia and learning disabilities, or, they just struggle in school with making friends, whatever the case may be. And what are some ways that you can mitigate that anxiety? And what I want to talk about is the often missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to anxiety. And just to give you a quick little snapshot, I had a client, her name is Jillian, who, thought she had tried everything with her daughter's anxiety, was really discouraged. And, she had been to the therapist. She had I think, had hired a life coach, had her child in like meditation and yoga classes, and she really didn't know what else to do. And that's because the big focus in our culture with mental health and anxiety is to focus on, our thought processes and lowering stress levels. And all of that is really important for sure. But if you do not support the nervous system, if you don't support the body on a physical level to be able to better manage anxiety, to be more resilient to stress, then you're really leaving out a huge piece of that puzzle. So anxiety is not all in the head. It's very much in the body as well. If there is high levels of anxiety, that's going to throw off stress hormones, and then that's going to fuel more anxiety. And if you've ever been through a stressful period, which I'm sure you have, you know this. So you want to do the other stuff, like, whether it's kids' meditation classes and maybe even seeing a therapist, but you really need to focus on nourishment. So the first thing that was a real game changer for me, anyone who's been following me for a while knows that I lived with a pretty serious anxiety disorder most of my childhood and adult life into about 28, 29. And the big thing was, number one, managing blood sugar. So when our blood sugar is up and down, what we're going to see particularly in children, we're going to see behavior issues. And for some children, that's going to also come out as anxiety. And they might have legitimate anxiety from a situation, but the reaction to it, the resilience to the stressor is going to be not so good if their blood sugar is fluctuating. And so whether I have clients who have ADHD, learning difficulties, anxiety, one of my number one things I do in terms of on helping to support the physical body is to make sure that their blood sugar levels are stable. So high cortisol, which is our stress hormone, tends to throw off blood sugar levels. So that's why more than ever, we need to increase their fat and protein, particularly at every meal. It doesn't mean they have to eat a steak at every meal, but definitely increasing their fat and protein to make sure that their blood sugar levels are stable. The second thing I do to help reduce anxiety or to help support the nervous system is support the adrenal glands. So those are like the two little glands that sit on top of the kidneys, and they are very much related to fight or flight and managing stress and so forth. And things that get thrown off when the adrenal glands are under a lot of stress and dealing with chronic anxiety or stress are, number one, our electrolytes. So your potassium, magnesium, sodium, and calcium, and so forth. So you can, I would totally avoid Gatorade and all those power drinks full of food coloring and other additives that will not help your child. You can make your own with apple cider vinegar and a pinch of salt. You can buy, I like the Nun electrolyte tablets. So definitely give your child some kind of form of electrolyte on a daily basis. The other thing that gets used up quite a bit during times of stress is vitamin C. And again, very interesting because we also know that we tend to get sick more easily when we're stressed. And part of that reason could be very much because we're using all of this vitamin C to deal with the stress hormones, to detox and so forth. So adding that in can really help support the adrenal glands. And then, of course, I'm going to just add this in. It's not a nutrition, but rest, very, very important during times of stress. Lots of extra sleep. So speaking of sleep, one of the reasons sometimes when we are stressed that we can't sleep is because we have all these stress hormones and our whole system is thrown off. And the same is true for kids, right? So what we want to focus on is neurotransmitters. So those are basically your brain chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all those things that help us be able to manage our mood, concentration, focus, anxiety, all that type of stuff. So one of my favorite go-to supplements, and I'm not one to over-supplement, but is GABA. So that is actually a neurotransmitter, and you can buy it in supplement form. It tends to be low in people who have anxiety, ADHD, panic, even epilepsy. GABA is very, very important for creating a calming effect on the brain. So you can get GABA from like protein like eggs, meat, chicken, dairy, even certain ferments, a certain bacteria will help to produce the neurotransmitter GABA. So you can supplement. I would advise start in low doses and then gradually increase. Hi Barb, I see you waving. Thanks for joining. So number 4, again, this is really helpful for sleep. So GABA as well, you can take for sleep. You can take it to just reduce anxiety levels during the day. Again, start low and increase. But the other one is magnesium. This is one of the nutrients that we tend to be most deficient in. It is known as the relaxation mineral. It's responsible for like over 300 different metabolic reactions in the body. And I can't believe, I always like blown away, and so are the parents whenever we start supplementing with that, and so many different kids who struggle with anxiety, ADHD, and so forth. So definitely, add that in if, I'm a big fan of what's called Magnesium Calm. A lot of kids have a really good reaction to that. And magnesium is something that we tend to become deficient in during stressful times. Our body uses it up. And it's been found in studies to be very helpful for better function of the brain, as well as reducing stress levels or making us more resilient to stress. And the reason for that is that it acts on the nervous system by shifting the body back to rest and digest. So last week I talked about fight or flight and how when we're chronically stressed, we tend to just get stuck in that mode. And so this is why, again, magnesium can be so effective and helpful. It also helps us sleep because it helps to regulate the sleep hormone melatonin. So also, it helps with just better sleep, and that in turn helps with nervous system repair. Our nervous system repairs itself when we are sleeping. Another reason why rest is so important. So the 5th nutrient that is can be so insanely helpful for anxiety in kids or adults is zinc. No coincidence that zinc is really important for immunity, and it also gets depleted during times of stress. Again, like vitamin C, this is one of the reasons why when we're stressed, we are more prone to getting sick. So zinc also is really important, is a cofactor in producing the neurotransmitters serotonin and dopamine, so brain chemicals that help to regulate our mood. A lot of my clients are deficient in zinc, clients with ADHD, dyslexia, anxiety, and so many other cognitive disorders. It was also found that zinc tends to be low in people who have low adrenal function. And so again, that connection with your child's resilience to stressors. You might have heard about B vitamins and how helpful they can be with stress and anxiety. So definitely, nourish your child with foods that are high in B vitamins, because there's several B vitamins that are necessary for the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. One of my favorite, B vitamins is B6, because it is key for the production of B6. And usually zinc, when combined with B6, obviously good quality supplements, everyone, can make a huge difference with anxiety as well as ADHD. One of the last nutrients I want to talk about is vitamin D, which is known as the sunshine nutrient. This has actually been found to increase our resilience to stress, and I thought it was really cool. There was a study done on vets who had come back from the war, and what they found was that vets who did not have PTSD compared to the vets who did had significantly higher levels of vitamin D. And they found that when they increased vitamin D levels in vets with PTSD, their symptoms weren't as bad. Now, like, I don't want to downplay PTSD and make it look like you can cure it with a vitamin. But again, just showing how nourishing our nervous system can help us to kind of pad our child's, to pad their nervous system and help to build up their resilience to stress and anxiety and so forth. Another one I want to talk about, it's not a supplement, but is just focusing on liver detox. If your child has issues, if you're noticing they're very irritable, or even if they have issues with aggression, that's often a sign that there's liver congestion from all these excess stress hormones like cortisol and so forth, just being recirculated and not being effectively detoxed in the body. And I'm not a big fan. Be very careful of these like trendy liver detox kits that you can buy at certain supplement stores. But things that detox that you can do at home are things like lemon water, bitters. Now, kids aren't huge on this, but like I know I was able to get my daughter to drink dandelion tea. And you know, if you can, fantastic. If your kids are older, great. That is just a great supplement in general, or support, I should say, in general. The cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, artichoke, and so forth also helps to support liver detox. And I believe I have a blog post on that as well that you can check out. But there's tons of information on liver detox all over the place. So lastly, not nutrient related, but as I mentioned at the beginning, yes, we do need to work on the mind. We want to support the nervous system during times of anxiety and stress so that we are more resilient and able to handle stressors. And remember, when we are stressed, we use up those nutrients much more quickly. So that's why it becomes all the more important to nourish more than ever. But what we tend to do when we're stressed is we tend to comfort eat and eat all kinds of food that actually further depletes our nutrients and makes us more vulnerable to anxiety and so forth. So for kids, one thing that can help really well, particularly before bed, is guided visualizations. Another thing I learned about recently from several friends who are Kundalini yoga teachers, left nostril breathing. It's such a simple thing that you can do with your child. Just check it out on YouTube. It's really good for, you know, adults as well. And it can really help to calm the fight or flight reaction and shift them into rest and digest. Epsom salt baths are a great way to get magnesium into your child to calm the nervous system as well. And then if you think your child is dealing with something more serious like trauma and so forth, definitely connect with a therapist, guys. And I can't say enough about the results of EDMR, eye-directed movement reprocessing, I believe it stands for, as well as art therapy, which I used to think was that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But when I learned about it and the effects compared to just talk therapy, I was really blown away, particularly for children. So keep in mind, you cannot out-supplement a bad diet. If your child is a fussy eater, don't try to overhaul their whole diet at once. Remember, it's all about slowly adding food in that's healthy, adding like healthy food into the food that maybe they love and kind of hiding it, or working with what they already love. These are all like tricks that I teach in my 6-month program, The Full Potential Formula. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please share. And if you would like to know more about how you can help your child, you know, learn better, read better, better manage their emotions, and want to learn more about my program, then don't hesitate to book a free coaching call. And I'll post a link below for my free starter kit on different some brain training exercises, as well as some top nutrition tips to get started with helping your child have their best brain. Thanks for watching.